Hey everybody, Nintenguin here, back with my next video of doing a tier list of every item in Super Mario Party Jamboree. Compared to my last two ranking videos where I ranked Mario Kart World items and Mario Kart tracks, this one's going to be a little different because I'm not actually going to be ranking these items amongst each other. I'm just going to be putting them into certain tiers and just going with that because, to be honest, I mean, some items are better than others. Like, obviously, triple dice is better than double dice, but like, it really just depends on the circumstance that you're in, so like, sometimes a chomp call will be better than a mushroom, other times a mushroom will be better than a chomp call, so it's kind of hard to say which one is really better than the other because it really just depends on what you need in the game at that moment. So I'm not going to rank them amongst each other. I'm just going to put them into tiers and we're just going to go with that. And obviously there are a lot of items in this game, so I'm going to try not to spend too long on each item. I'm kind of going to try to go through these relatively quickly, or else I'm going to be here all night. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, first up is the mushroom. This adds 5 to your roll, and it only costs 3 coins. And honestly, this one's pretty useful. I'm going to put it in the useful tier. This one's honestly underrated. A lot of people just kind of skip over it because, oh, it's cheap, plus 5, meh. But this is pretty solid. You're guaranteed at least a 6 on your roll. And you can max it at 15. But honestly, just getting a minimum of 6 on your roll is pretty great. Because, again, if you have a bunch of bad spaces coming up, you can use this and just guarantee that you get past them. And likewise, if you just need to reach the star space and it's like 4 spaces away, use this because you're guaranteed to get there. So mushroom is great. Obviously, it cancels out all the creepy dice blocks, which we'll get to in a bit. So I think mushroom's pretty solid. And again, 3 coins, very cheap. A nice, very viable option. So I'm going to put it right in useful. All right, creepy dice block. I don't know why they changed the name. It was cursed dice block in Superstars. And even before, in prior games, it was called the cursed mushroom. So I don't know why they changed the name. There's no real need for that. But whatever. I'm going to put this in has its uses because, for the most part, I'm not really looking to buy this item. Like, if I'm not, you'll never really see me buying this item. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not, of all the things I can buy at a shop, I'm probably not gonna buy this, because, like, yes, it can be useful. Like, if you really need to slow someone down who's getting close to a star and you want to try to beat them to it. Like I said, it's just kind of situational in that regard. And again, if they have a item like a mushroom or double dice or a custom dice, they can just cancel it out anyway. And those are all fairly common items, so there are many times with this you can't even really use this anyway. And again, you can also use this on yourself. I think the best usage of this being on yourself is at Mario's Rainbow Castle. If Bowser's at the top and you want to try to slow yourself down and let someone else get to Bowser first, you can use this on yourself. But other than that, though, this item's not that great. If I get it from like an item space, I'm just kind of like, eh. And again, you'll never really see me buy this, so I'm just going to put in has its uses. It can be useful sometimes, but for the most part, I'm just kind of like, whatever. Alright, Skeleton Key. I'm going to put this in situational. It can be good, but in most of the time, it's just going to sit in your item slot, and you're probably not going to use it. I would only ever buy this item if you actually have a plan to use this. Like, if you're going to use this to visit Boo multiple times or whatnot, but otherwise, I don't see a purpose in buying this. There's so many other better items you could buy, and it's so situational to where I would just never buy this at the shop. If I get it, I'm not complaining, because at least I have it. But again, you're hardly ever going to use this item. There's only 2 gates on two boards that use this item. And again, it's just very situational. And again, it usually just sits there. You usually probably won't end up using it anyway, especially if you weren't planning on getting it. So I'm just going to put it in situational. Alright, Pipe. Glad to see this one return. I'm going to put it in has its uses as well, because this item's completely random. This item's just a gamble. You use this when there's nothing better to do. Like, it's often sometimes used as a Hail Mary at the end if you want to have a 1 in 100 chance of being put really close to the star. And again, if you're just in a spot and you're like in no man's land, like on Goomba Lagoon, if you're stuck on an island when it's on high tide, you can use this and just get out of there. So it's just completely random. Like I said, it does have its uses. There are times where you literally have nothing better to do than to just use this and hope you go somewhere better. So I'll put it in has its uses. It's definitely more useful than those that will be in situational. But at the end of the day, it's random. You can't really rely on it that well, so I'm just going to put it in that tier. All right, double dice. I'm going to put this in useful as well. And this is what I'm talking about. It's hard to rank both of these next to each other because, again, they differ. Double dice technically can roll higher because you can get up to 20, but you can also roll a minimum of 2. And mushroom, you roll a minimum of 6. So double dice is, you could technically say, is better because it can roll higher, and you can also get, obviously, a pair and get 10 coins out of it. But like I said, that's not guaranteed. So there's a chance you'll roll like a 1 and a 3 and you get a 4, and it's like, dude, come on, if you used a mushroom you would have had at least 6. So sometimes double dice can backfire, but so that's why I'm not, obviously this is what I mean, I'm not going to put this above mushroom or put mushroom above it. They're just both useful and we're just going to go with that. Triple dice. Now this is a good item. I'm putting this in very strong. Yeah, this item's great. It's actually much harder to get in this game than it was in Superstars. It was very easy to get this item. It was pretty much always available at almost every shop in Superstars. It was very viable. 10 coins is not that bad, and 3 dice, you have a pretty good chance of moving a pretty decent amount. It's a great way to make some great distance to try to reach a star, potentially get 2 stars in one turn if you roll high enough. So I think this is a very strong item. It's just too bad that it's kind of uncommon in this game. It's only sold in very few shops, and otherwise you're not going to really find this on an item space or a lucky space unless you're like in last. So, but at the end of the day, anytime you get triple dice, triple dice is great. It's very reliable, very, very strong. So I'm going to put that in the very strong tier, obviously. All right, super creepy dice. This is a new one. I'm going to put this in solid. I'll put it above the normal one, obviously. So in case you don't know what this item does, it's not triple creepy dice. It just, when you use this, it puts a creepy dice on every other player. So basically it's using 3 at the same time. So if no other player has an item that can cancel it out, this thing can be absolutely diabolical because you just slow everyone down. And again, absolutely diabolical. Even if you can slow 2 people down, that's pretty good. So this has its uses. It can be a pretty decent threat if you know when to use this at the right time. So I'm gonna put it in solid. It's not it's not absolutely amazing, but again, when you use it in the right circumstances, it can be pretty decent. So I'm gonna put it in solid. All right, now we're at the traps. 10 coin trap. I'm putting this in wasteful because 10 coins. Let's be honest, 10 coins is not that much in this game. The economy is busted in Jamboree. The economy's been busted in these last few Mario Parties for a while, but Jamboree is especially insane. Jamboree buddies making things happen twice. You can, all that stuff. You just get so many coins in this game. Bonus mini games happen a lot. There's just so many ways to get crazy amounts of coins. And 10 coins, maybe at the beginning of the game, might be a decent amount, but like once you pass like turn 5, 10 coins is like nothing. So I would literally never buy this item. You will never see me buying this item. And I think this is single-handedly like the worst item in the game. Besides, well, you know which one. We'll get to that later. But yeah, this thing's pretty useless. I'm just going to put it in wasteful. Alright, half coin steel trap. This is obviously a little better because especially late game when people are rich, you could potentially get like 60 coins out of this thing, which is pretty crazy. But even then, I'm still probably going to put it in wasteful. I'm not going to lie, because again, the player has to be rich for this to really be worth it. And like I said, it's just coins. And like coins are just so abundant in this game. Like stealing some coins from other players is not that amazing, to be honest with you. And again, the odds of someone actually landing on this is already pretty low. Traps kind of suck in this game because you can only place them 2 spaces above or behind you. So the range of it is just absolutely awful. Like 2 spaces? Are you kidding me? You can only place it on 5 different spaces in your range, which is so lame. And again, the only redeeming factor is that you can place these on any space you want. Like in prior games, you could really only place these on blue or red spaces. In this game, you can place them wherever you want. But the range of these just absolutely suck. They are so weak in this game. The only time I ever find this trap to be like pretty decent is on the linear boards like Mario's Rainbow Castle or Roll 'em Raceway. But otherwise, these are just kind of a waste. Again, you'll never really see me buying these. So if I get it, whatever. But I don't really care about these. Alright, mushroom tickets. I'm going to put these in superb. I don't care. These are so good. Okay, first of all, the fact that these cost 6 coins is insane. But yeah, basically you get 2 to 4 mushrooms. There's basically either 2 to 4 tickets in there. It's decided by random, and each ticket obviously gives you a mushroom. So on your turn, you use a mushroom ticket. One of the tickets peels off, it gives you a mushroom, and then this stays in your items. It stays in your item slot for you. And the fact that you have, first of all, the fact you can get 2 to 4 mushrooms for 6 coins is crazy. 6 coins would be 2 mushrooms, and that's the minimum. So chances are you're going to get 3 or 4, and so that's already a bargain. And what makes this item so much better is the fact that all of these mushrooms takes up 1 item slot. So you can have all those mushrooms in there. You can have like 3 mushrooms possibly, and it only takes up 1 item slot. You can still have the other 2 item slots for any other item of your choice, and that's so good. Mushroom tickets are great. It's very reliable, very good way to consistently roll higher numbers for the next few turns. And again, it's really cheap. 6 coins is such a good deal. So easily putting this in Superb. I don't think I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I think most people could probably agree that this is one of the best items to get or to buy. All right, creepy dice tickets. This one's like really hard to find. I like have only picked this item up one time, and I'll put it in has its uses. Same thing with the tickets. You can get 2 to 4 of them. It's decided randomly. These cost, I think, 5. These cost 5 coins, I believe. I'll have to go back and check. But again, same thing. You can use creepy dice 2 to 4 times at random. It only takes up 1 item slot. But creepy dice is just not that useful. I mean, there's not really a point in having that many. And again, just use super creepy dice so you can use it. You can use them all at the same time on all your opponents. Why would you have to use them one at a time? That's kind of pointless. I believe this item is only sold on Roll'em Raceway and Mario's Rainbow Castle, and I have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure that's where they're the only places they're sold. Very hard to find this item, not gonna lie, but it's just not that good. It's okay. It has its uses, like I said. I think this is pretty much equivalent. It's technically better than regular creepy dice, but it's like the same thing. You're only using one at a time. It's kind of weak. It's not that great. It's fine. All right, Warp Box. I'm gonna put this in solid. It's okay. I have to wonder why this even exists when the swap mirror is right here, which is the same thing as the warp block from Mario Party Superstars and all the older Mario Parties. They were called the warp block, which you just used it and you randomly switched place with an opponent, which is what the swap mirror does, which we'll get to. This one just teleports you to a location of an opponent at random. So it's the same concept. It's a 1 in 3 chance of going to one of the opponents you want. It's just that instead of swapping with them, you just teleport to their location. So they're like the same thing. I don't really know why they added this item when this swap mirror is literally right there. I guess you could argue that it is slightly worse than the swap mirror because the opponent's still there. You teleport to the opponent, but that opponent doesn't get sent somewhere else. They're still there. So if you warp to that player in attempt to chase a star, well, you still have to worry about that player beating you to it. So, but it's still a solid item. Like I said, it's a bit of a gamble. It's definitely most useful when the 3 other players, or at least 2 out of the 3 other players, are kind of grouped up around the same area, and you can use this to kind of get closer to the star or another spot that you're trying to reach. So I'm gonna put it in solid. I think that's a good spot for it. All right, Shop Hop Box. This is a new item, and I'm gonna put it in useful. It's kind of similar to Cellular Shopper, to where but instead of calling the item shop, it just teleports you to an item shop. Thing is, it's random, so you're gonna go to one of the shops on the board. So, and obviously, if you're using this on Mario's Rainbow Castle or Roll'em Raceway, you know where you're going. But on every other board, it's, again, a bit of a gamble. You don't know which shop you're going to go to. All you know is that you're going to go into a shop and that you're immediately going to be able to buy an item as soon as you roll. And again, this can be useful if the star or like a Jamboree buddy is really close to a shop. You can intentionally use this for like a 1 in 2, 1 in 3 chance of getting really close to that thing you're trying to reach. So this definitely has multiple uses. So that's why I'm going to put it in useful. Like I said, it's good if you're just trying to get to an item shop so you can buy an item. But it can also be good to actually get to certain parts of the board where you already want to be near those areas anyway for some reason. So I'm going to put it in useful for that. All right, Chomp Call. I hate this item. I'm just going to say, like, it's good. I'll put it in useful. I'm going to say that. But I got beef with this item because of the CPUs. CPUs love this item. They love to buy this item, and it's so annoying. I'm just trying to play the game. I'm just trying to run around, get my stars, and these guys always buy chomp calls, and they always use them, they always move them. Oh my god. Now, luckily, they're a little more uncommon in this game than they were in Superstars. Superstars was awful. They always, if like Horrorland, they sold them on the shops at Horrorland, they'd always buy chomp calls, and they'd have like 3 of them. They'd all stockpile chomp calls, and they'd all use them, and I can never get any stars. So luckily, it's way more uncommon in this game, thank God. Now, despite all what I just said, I can't deny this item is pretty decent. It's definitely good if you have someone who's getting close to a star. You obviously want to move it so they can't get it. You don't want them getting further ahead than you. And again, you can also use this as a Hail Mary at the very end of the game. If it's like your last turn, the star is really far away, you can use this, and maybe the star will move much closer to you, and maybe you can get it. So it can be used as like a Hail Mary at like the very end of the game, but for the most part, this is just literally used to be kind of a dick to your opponents. And you know what? It's kind of funny. I just hate when the CPUs stock up on these things and I can't play the game. But I cannot deny it is a useful item. 6 coins is pretty decent price, so I'm going to put it in useful. Alright, Tide Shell. We have our first board exclusive item. This is exclusive to Goomba Lagoon. I'm going to put it in situational. It's handy to have, like the skeleton key, when you have, like, I'm never going to complain when I have it. But, like, again, it's just so situational, because what it does is just changes from either high tide to low tide. Most of the time, you're probably going to use this to move it from high tide to low tide, so you can actually get around the board, unless you want to go from low to high tide just to screw over your opponents. But I would personally never try to use this in an offensive way. I would just have this on hand if the tide is being an issue and is limiting your access to another island. You could use this to lower the tide and get to other places. But again, it's situational. There's only going to be so many times when the tide is actually actively in your way of getting somewhere. And there are other options of getting around the board. You have the pipe, you have the gold pipe, you have the swap mirror, warp block, shop hot box. There's other ways to get around the board much more, kind of reliably. But again, it's not a bad item to have. It's just, again, situational. So that's why I'm going to put it kind of lower. It doesn't mean it's a bad item. It's just, again, situational when you use it. Alright, Wiggler Bell. This is exclusive to Mega Wiggler's Tree Party. Hear me out. I'm putting this in Wasteful, because this item is so situational to where it literally, I don't even want to put it in the situational tier, because I swear you will hardly use this to its full potential. All it does, it just makes Wiggler move on the middle of the board, so it just changes a little pathway. So if he's on the other side, you can ring this, bring him a little closer, and you can take a little shortcut. That's about it. And I guess if you're actively on the Wiggler, you can use it and ring it, and then you can have him move while you're on the Wiggler, and then get off at a different place. But again, when are you really ever going to use this? Most of the time, you're going to be on the outskirts of the board, and you don't really care where Wiggler is. You're just going after the star. There's other much better ways to get around the board, and this is just kind of, Wiggler's already kind of unreliable as is. And again, there's a chance that this will actually piss off Wiggler, and all the spaces will become Red and Bowser spaces. So again, kind of wasteful. 5 coins for this is not worth it. I'm never buying this at the item shop, because I can always buy double dice or a gold pipe. I'm never going to buy this. So I'm putting it in Wasteful for that. Alright, Swap Mirror. This is, again, same thing as Warp Box. So I'm going to put it in Solid. And again, decent. The only thing it has over the Warp Box is that you swap places with that opponent, which is, I suppose, a little bit better. So I guess I'll put it like that. It doesn't really matter, though. I don't care. But I do have to wonder, why did they change it to mirrors? I thought Warp Block in Mario Party Superstars was fine. It has the same color scheme. It also has the same pattern of the arrows. Like, you just because you have these 2 other boxes or block-like items doesn't mean you have to change them, but whatever. I still like the design of it. It still looks cool. So, yeah, Swap Mirror's fine. It's actually, for some reason, it's a lot more uncommon than the Warp Box is. I don't really know why, but again, same concept, so I'm going to put it in Solid. Alright, Payday Double Dice. This is another new item. I'm going to put this, again, in Useful. It is literally just double dice, but slightly better because you get money. So whatever you roll with double dice, whatever number that is how much you get in coins. I will say, I don't know if I'd actually go out of my way to buy this item, because it's 10 coins. Double dice is 5. So it's double the price. And there's a chance you won't even get those coins back. If you roll lower than a 10, you lost money. So it's like, you might as well just honestly just pay 5 coins less and just go with regular double dice. I don't know. But again, I mean, if you roll high, you can get some money out of it. So again, it's just double dice, but it gives you money. So I'll put it in Useful. Payday triple dice. Obviously, this is going in very strong. It's just triple dice, but it obviously gives you money to equal to what you roll. I will say this is probably a little bit better. This is 15 coins and double dice is 10. I think this is a little more valuable because it's much easier to roll higher numbers with this. And again, there's a good chance you'll roll at least a 15 with triple dice. And again, if you roll really high, you can make some pretty good bank with this thing. So I'm going to put this with triple dice. This is also very, very rare to find. The only place you can buy it is Rainbow Galleria, but in pretty much every other board, you're like never going to get this item. It's so hard to find. Unless you're like in 4th place and you land on an item space. That's about all I can think of. Alright, Dueling Glove. Hear me out. I'm going to put it in has its uses. And it's just going to stay there. Again, it's kind of situational. It's, again, a bit of a gamble. You use this to duel a player of your choice where you put coins on the line. Obviously, if someone's ahead of you in coins and coins are like the tiebreaker, this would be a good way to try to steal someone's coins at the last second, try to get ahead of the other player. But for the most part, like I said, it's a bit of a risk because if you lose the duel, you lost money. So I would really only use this item if I'm like really far behind and I want it, if I need more money or if I need to stop someone from getting a certain coin count. But otherwise, it's I'm not usually gonna buy this unless it's kind of like a last ditch effort. So I'm gonna put it in has its uses. And likewise, the Super Dueling Glove I'm also gonna put here. I know this item is rare. I know this item is capable of absolutely changing the game. But I'm also going to put in has its uses. In case you did not know, same thing. You activate a duel with another player of your choice, but you each wager a star. So if you win, you get 2 stars, or you essentially steal a star from your opponent if you win. So that has potential to be pretty freaking strong. Like I said, you better win that duel, though. If you lose, you just shot yourself in the foot big time. Also, the fact that this costs 40 coins is wild on Rainbow Galleria. 40 coins? Are you kidding me? That's crazy, dude. That's insane. I'd rather just pay 10 more and get a guaranteed steal with Boo. So it's like 40 coins for this item's pretty insane. But again, it's pretty big gamble. I'd really only use this item if I am literally in last or if I am trying to catch up to the person in first, and I'm willing to take that risk. But if you're in first, obviously, why would you use this item? You have a chance of losing the lead. So it has its uses, but kind of situational, so that's why I'm going to put it in this tier. Alright, Steamer Ticket. This is exclusive to Western Land. I'm going to put this in situational. I'm going to be honest, I never go up. I don't really pick this item up. You have to go all the way to the ticket station to get it. It's also kind of expensive. Every time someone buys it, the price increases. So what is it, like 10 coins? Is it like 5 coins to start? I forgot how much it costs. But all I know is it gradually goes up. And most of the time, it's just not really worth getting. It is nice because it gives Steamer a little more action. Like I said, you don't actually have to, you no longer have to be at the station where the train is to actually use it. You can just use this at any station you want and then immediately get the train over and you can use the train, which is nice. And like I said, you can also use this offensively if there's a bunch of people on the tracks. You can just use this just to hit all of them, send them back to the start, and not even use the train. I've seen people do that. It's really funny. And absolutely diabolical if you can manage to pull that off. But to be honest, though, it's just I'm never really gonna pick this one up. And I don't find very many uses for it. Even when you get on the train, you're not guaranteed to go in the direction you want. It's 50-50. So I'm gonna put it in situational. There's better ways to get around the board than relying on the train. So I'm just gonna put it in situational. All right, Cellular Shopper. I'm gonna put this in solid. I think calling the item shop is great. It's weird that you can't choose what shop to call. It just calls the Koopa Troopa shop and that's it. There's nothing else you can do. It just only calls the Koopa Troopa shop. I don't know why you can't call the Chemic shop. Why not, right? They have different items. I wish you could choose from either one. Like in Mario Party 3, you could choose from Toad or Baby Bowser because they sold different sets of items. So I don't know why you can't choose, but whatever. I will say this item is very hard to obtain in this game. Obviously, you can get it in Pro Rules, but besides that, you cannot get this item anywhere. I've seen a singular one time on regular party rules where a CPU landed on an item space and got this thing. So it's very, very hard to get this item on regular rules. I don't know why. I believe it would cost 5 coins because if the Womp guy on Rainbow Galleria takes this from you, he pays you 10 and he pays you double of what the item's worth. So this thing would sell in the shop for 5 coins. I don't know why you can't buy it, but oh well. I mean, I always like having this item. It's pretty common I'll pick this in Pro Rules solely because there's a limited inventory in the item shops. You can just have this on hand and buy one of those really good items like a gold pipe or a custom dice block as soon as you get the money and just snag it. And again, it's good to have. You can get some items. Shop hop is probably a little bit better because not only does it take you to a shop and where you can buy an item, but you can also use this strategically to get around the board. So I'm going to put it a tier higher. But this is still a very nice item to have on hand. All right, Star Steal Trap. This is the one trap I'm not going to put in Wasteful because, again, you steal a star, which is pretty freaking strong. I'm going to put this in Has Its Uses. Now, obviously, like other traps, you can only place this like 2 spaces in front or behind. Obviously, most of the time, chances are no one's gonna land on it. But if somebody does, oh my God, stealing a star is crazy. That changes the whole game. That puts you way ahead of your opponents like that. It's very, very strong if someone can actually manage to land on it. I will say it's again best on the linear boards, but the reason I'm just putting it above the coin ones because stars are just so much more valuable. And if you can plant multiple of these like fairly close to each other, this can be pretty freaking good. You can actually have a pretty treacherous pathway set up for your opponents, and you do not want to land on this trap. Like I'd be fine landing on some of these if I don't have that money coins, but that's something you have to avoid, and that can really screw up your opponents. So that's something to put it much higher. It definitely has its uses. All right, custom dice block. I'm also gonna put this in Superb. It's so good. I know these two can roll higher than 10, but just being able to choose what you roll is so freaking powerful. Because now, first of all, you can just guarantee yourself a 10, which is already pretty good. A 10 on its own is pretty solid. But again, just being able to choose where you land is so good. You can avoid bad spaces. You can avoid traps. You can purposely land on a lucky space, purposely land on a chance time space, purposely land on one of those shops at Rainbow Galleria. There's a lot of great things you can do with this item. It is so versatile, so strong. 12 coins is a little much. 12 coins is a little bit expensive, but it's worth it. This item is really, really good. So easily putting this in Superb. It's definitely one of the most valuable items to get. And it's fairly common too, which is very nice. You can not too hard to get your hands on this thing. All right, Plunder Chest. This is another item that's kind of hard to find in this game. It is sold on Goomba Lagoon, and that's it. Otherwise, you're going to have to rely on item spaces or an item bag or something like that to get this thing. But Plunder Chest is very strong. I'm going to put this in this very strong tier. Obviously, stealing an item from an opponent is great. It is random. It steals a random item, so you do have to be careful. If you're targeting a player and they have 3 items, you may not get what you want. But if that player only has 1 item, then you're guaranteed to steal what they have. But part of what also makes this item so strong is that it's kind of having leverage on your opponents. Like just you having this item, no one wants to buy a gold pipe. Because if you have no items in your inventory, as soon as you buy a gold pipe, you're going to get targeted by this thing. So it's kind of a weapon just to hold it. Because people are going to be scared to buy stronger items, because especially if that will be the only item in hand, because you'll just steal it from them. So it is pretty good for that, and I think 20 coins kind of justifies the price of 20 coins for that. So I'm going to put it in very strong. Again, kind of hard to come by, but when you do manage to get this item, it's always a good day when you get this thing. So, all right, Turbo Dice. I really want to like this item, but it has one humongous draw side, and that's why it's going to go in situational. 4 dice seems awesome, and it fits Roll'em Raceway so well, because the whole goal of that one is obviously to move as quick as you can to make as many laps as possible to get back to the star. And obviously when you pass by the finish line, you get coins. Problem is, 4 dice is great. Why do you bypass all board events? That's so lame. That's so dumb. You move so fast, you just skip past every board event. So you skip past Boo, you skip past the starting line, you skip past the item shop, and you even skip past the star. So this thing can literally come back. This thing can bite you in the ass if you roll too high. This thing can screw you over. It's like, why is there even a compromise to this item? Why can't it just be 4 dice? You know, like at that point you're better off just buying triple dice. And this thing is 2 coins more. You're better off just buying triple dice because that doesn't have any drawbacks. But this item's drawback is so bad. It really hinders this item. If this was just regular quadruple dice, this would probably go in Superb. But that drawback really, really hurts it. There's so many better ways to restrict it a little bit, but the fact that you bypass all board events sucks. It's terrible. And again, there's a decent chance you may not even roll a high number anyway, and you'll skip right past at a board event. So the fact that this has the chance to completely screw you over really just puts it in situational. I would literally only use this right after you pass the star space to ensure that you don't go past the star, because that is like the worst thing you can do. But anyway, let's move on. All right, gold pipe. You all know where this is going. I mean, it's obviously going in superb. This is how you win the game. You got to stock up on these. That's how you win, bro. We all know in these last few Mario Party games, that's how you win. As soon as the gold pipe enters the shops, everybody just goes to the shops, only buy gold pipes, have those on hand. It's basically just having a star on hand. You buy this and you have a star in pocket. And as soon as you get 20 coins, you can essentially go get a star whenever you want. So it's so good for that. And 25 coins sounds expensive, but again, Jamboree's economy is so busted. You'll get coins so easily in this game. There's so many events. The mini games give you, the coin mini games give you a lot. There's a lot of bonus mini games that give you double the coins. There's so many ways to get lots of coins in this game. 25 coins is honestly not that bad. And halfway through the game, you're probably already going to have enough to buy this anyway. So easily superb. If this is in the shop, you're buying this item. If you can afford it, you're buying it. There's no other reason not to buy it. This is by far the best item sold in any of the shops. It's way, way too strong. And I kind of wish it wasn't sold as often as it was, because on boards like Goomba Lagoon, once you pass halfway, it's not even about, because the board is so large and kind of hard to navigate, it's not even about traveling the board anymore. It's just going to the shops and buying as many gold pipes as you can get at that point. So in some boards, it kind of ruins them a little bit, but it's almost too good. But yeah, 25 coins is honestly not that bad for how strong it is. So, but again, it's superb. We all know this. This is the best. This is probably the best item in the game. We all know that. All right, markup sticker. This is exclusive to Rainbow Galleria. And I hate to do this, but it's going in wasteful. I love the idea of this item where you target a specific opponent and it makes their prices double for one turn. That's a cool idea, especially in a shopping mall board. Problem is, this, again, it's so situational when this will actually be actually really lethal to an opponent, because again, there's a decent it only lasts for one of their turns, and as soon as that turn ends, as soon as they land on that space, this item's gone. So if they just happen to roll like a 1 or a 2, this item probably won't do anything. It's a good offensive item. The only reason I'm putting it in wasteful is because of all the items to buy at Rainbow Galleria, especially the item shop. You could buy double dice, you could buy a warp box, you could buy a custom dice. Why would you buy this? There's so many better items to buy. Why would you buy this? Again, I heavily focus more on giving yourself better items to make your chances better, rather than focusing on trying to screw over your opponents. And again, when you get so rich in this game, obviously paying double price for like a star or items, that sucks, but chances are that person will probably be able to afford it, especially if you're pursuing the person in first or whoever has a bunch of coins in pocket. So I'm going to put this in wasteful for that reason alone. It's just kind of, I would never really go out of my way to buy this. So alright, Bowser Byway Lever. I'm going to put this in solid. This is probably the best board exclusive item, solely because this is actually really good. The whole byway system, Bowser's byway thing, and on King Bowser's Keep, that byway can really screw you up. You know, you can be going in a path, as soon as that thing flips around, it can really screw up your route. It can make it take so much longer to get around. It might make you go the other, maybe you don't want to go the other way because there's a bunch of Bowser spaces or a bunch of dangerous spaces there. So this can be an absolute lifesaver if you are just trying to get through the byway and all these people keep landing on event spaces and keep changing it around. This will just let you change it in the direction you want to go and just move and just go where you want to go. So this is really great to have on hand as like insurance in case something goes wrong, in case somebody lands on an event space and screws you up. This is very good to have for those reasons. So that's why it's a very solid item to have. And again, probably the best board exclusive item in the game. So I'm going to put it in solid. Alright, Boo Bell. I'm going to put this in superb. And that's solely because Boo is just so good in this game. He steals a star for 50 coins. That's like, most of the time when you go to Boo, you're stealing a star. Because 50 coins is not that hard to get in this game. You would think it's a lot, and in older Mario Party games, 50 coins is a pretty hefty amount. But in this game, it is so easy to get 50 coins. You will have 50 coins at some point. You will. you'll have 50 coins at some point. It's hard to it's literally hard to not have that many coins. So really, it's not about having the coins. The challenge is getting to Boo, because sometimes on certain boards, Boo is just really out of the way, and it's kind of hard to get to him. But this thing, you can just call Boo whenever you want, and you can steal a star wherever you are, and that's so freaking powerful. Just being able to just pay 50 coins from wherever you are and steal a star is so strong. Because not only do you steal a star from presumably the leader, they lose a star, you also gain a star. So you make a lot of progress. So again, very strong for that reason alone. It is pretty hard to get your hands on this thing. It is definitely a rare item, but it is superb. It is great. Anytime you get a Boo Bell, you are a massive threat if you can get your hands on this thing. So easily going in superb. All right, Tower Turner. I'm going to put this in situational. This is exclusive to Mario's Rainbow Castle. And yeah, what it does is it has a listen to this. It has a chance to flip Toad and Imposter Bowser. So presumably, if you reach the top and Imposter Bowser's at the top, you'd want to try to use this to swap it to Toad so you can get a star. Here's the problem: it's not guaranteed. It's random. So it's a 50-50 chance that it'll actually do its job. You know, it may not even do it. If it might land on Imposter Bowser and you just wasted the item. That already sucks. You know what makes it even worse? It costs 20 frickin' coins. 20 coins! I could pay 5 more for a gold pipe. Now, you can't buy a gold pipe on Mario's Rainbow Castle, but 20 coins? Are you kidding me? Just for a chance to turn it? It should be guaranteed at that price. So, I suppose that'd be a little too strong, maybe, but the fact that it's not guaranteed just really hurts this item. But even then, even if it was guaranteed, this is, again, situational, because you're only going to use this when you get to the top, and if it's not Toad, you're going to try to use this to try to obviously change it, and that's really the only time you're going to use this. For every other time, it's just going to be sitting in your pocket. So I'm putting it in situational, but I do have to say 20 coins is pretty insane, and again, the fact that it's not the fact that it's 50-50 really kind of sucks. So I'm going to put it in situational. All right, Super Swap Mirror. This item's so freaking good. It's the same thing as Super Swap Block from Superstars. You literally choose who to switch places with, and that is so strong. If somebody's really close to the star, swap with them. Boom, now you're close to the star. If somebody's near Boo and you get to Boo, so you can steal a star. Boom, swap with that person. Now you can get to Boo. There's so many things you can do with this item. It is just so good. It's especially good when somebody's very close to a star and you can just swap with them, screw them out of getting a star, and then you can be very close to it. So this item is very good. I'm putting it in superb. 15 coins is really cheap, by the way. It's obviously you can only buy this on Rainbow Galleria, but 15 coins is like really cheap considering that you can literally just swap with somebody and you can go right to the star. That's kind of crazy. 15 coins is pretty cheap. Like, that's kind of wild, but it is a rare item. If you get your hands on this, everyone's going to be like, oh my god, you are a threat when you have this item. This is similar to Boo Bell. When you have this item, everyone's just like, oh no. Because all you have to do is get close to the star and this person's going to swap with you. So this is such a powerful item. Definitely putting it in superb. Alright, Hidden Block card. I'm going to put this in very strong. This might be the rarest item in the game. You cannot buy this item anywhere. I think this is like one of the few items, this is one of the very few items in the game that you cannot purchase anywhere. You can't even buy it at Rainbow Galleria. It's very hard to get, pretty rare. I've literally have only gotten this in 4th on an item space. And simply put, it spawns a hidden block. Hidden blocks obviously have a chance to give you a free star. That's why I'm putting it in very strong, because you have a chance to get a free star. That's pretty great. And at worst, you're getting coins, which, you know, coins are coins. Cool. But the fact that you're not buying this, the fact that it's basically just free money or a free star is pretty great. So I'm going to put it in very strong for that. It's just so hard to get your hands on it, though. All right, Bowser Phone, another item that I did not expect to see again. We haven't seen this since Mario Party 3. So pretty cool to see this back after so long. Unfortunately, it's not that good. I'm putting it in wasteful. Again, you cannot buy this item. You can get it on Goomba Lagoon. It's in one of those treasure chests, but otherwise, you're just going to have to get this from like an item space. Problem is, this item is literally just a troll. You just use this, and obviously Bowser randomly targets one of your opponents, and that person obviously goes to the events as if they landed on a Bowser space. What's weird is you can't choose who to target with this item. In Mario Party 3, you could choose who to be. You could choose who Bowser targeted. You could even target yourself if you were like in last, and Bowser might give you, you know, some coins out of pity. But in this game, it's random. So it's like, well, what's the point? You'd probably, if anything, you'd want to use this to target the person first. Maybe try to get them to lose a star. But the fact that it's random is kind of like, well, what's even the point? And like I said, you're not helping yourself. All you're doing is just trolling on one of your opponents. And again, this can potentially backfire if it lands on something like Bowser's Shuffle. That may be something you didn't want. So this item can backfire. It's kind of interesting that it's so rare because it really doesn't help the user that much at all. It's just kind of a way to have a little fun. But that's about it. So I'm going to put this in Wasteful, which I hate to do because I like that it's back in the game. I like the idea of it kind of being like the counterpart to Cellular Shopper. But it's just not that good. There's just not really a reason to ever go after it, even though you can't buy it. All right, item bag. I'm going to put this in Very Strong. You can only obtain this on Lucky Spaces, just like Superstars. You cannot buy it anymore, sadly. And obviously, in older Mario Parties, you could buy this for like 30 coins. I still wish you could do that because this is one of the only ways to get multiple items at the shop, but you can't buy it. So, but you know what? That's fair because this thing is so good. You can only get this from Lucky Spaces. What makes this item so good is obviously it fills you up on items. So if you have 0 items, you're getting 3 items, which is great. But the fact that this can give you any item in the game, and I tend to find there's a decent chance this thing gives you a rare item, just from what I've seen. I tend to see people very commonly get an item you would not normally get. I've seen many people get super swap mirrors. I've seen people get, super dueling glove or a plunder chest or a boo bell or hidden block card. There's a lot of great stuff you can get out of this. It's possible that it can just give you crap. It could just give you some traps and a creepy dice and a skeleton key, but the fact that it can give you some great stuff really makes it strong. And again, filling you up on items is very useful. There's a pretty solid chance you'll get a pretty good item. So I'm putting this in Very Strong. It is always like, woo, if you ever manage to get one of these things from a Lucky Space, but it is pretty hard to do. And lastly, the Lodestone. Take a wild guess where this one's gonna go. It's going in Super... No, I'm just kidding. Wasteful, obviously. This is the only item that's in the game that's designed to harm the user, because you get this from an unlucky space. That's the only way you can get this item, and if it lands on the thing, it says max out on Lodestones. You just get all these until you can't hold anymore. And the whole thing about this item is you cannot discard it. So if you get another item, you can't get rid of it. Usually when you have 3 items, if you buy another one, you just gotta get rid of one of your others so you can make space for it. You can't do that with this. The only way to get rid of this item is to actually use it. And to use it, it gives you a whopping 2 coins. So it kind of is like a troll item. It's just there to be annoying, and you have to just waste an item on a specific turn to just use it and get it out of the way. So obviously I'm going to put it in Wasteful. Why would you ever want to have one of these things? 2 coins is not that significant. You can get that literally anywhere else. So obviously it's going to go in Wasteful. All right, that is the completed tier list. Obviously I know some people probably disagree with me. I know some people are probably going to think, how did he put Super Dueling Glove this far down? But personally, this is just what I think after playing the game. Obviously I love Mario Party. I've played this game a lot. I've played a lot of Superstars, a lot of Jamboree. And one of my favorite things about the Mario Party games is the items. I always love the items. I just always obsess over them, always trying to use every single one. I was so determined to get the Item Connoisseur achievement. And I finally did after a while. It was so hard to get this one. That was easily the hardest item to get, was Hidden Block Card. But I love the items in this game. There's so many to choose from. There's so much variety. So I really wanted to do these on a tier list. So, but anyway, if you made it to the end, let me know what you think of these. If you think these are like the 5 best items, if you agree with me or not. If there's any of these that you would put a lot higher, let me know. I'm curious what you think. But other than that, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you if you are still here at the end. Whee! Alright, I'll see you in the next video, whatever I do next.